Well, full name is Louis, and my middle name is Yosef George. Yosef is the old Lebanese name, the same as my father's middle name. And I was born in 1930, and there were 7 of us in the family, and 6 of us was born over the store where we lived. When my dad first, if you don't mind if I tell you, first he came here from Lebanon. He couldn't speak English and he didn't know anyone. He walked from St. John to Fredericton. There was one Lebanese family here then that had a little store. And he took my father in and told him something about exchange and where the road was to a prosperous area. And the first few nights he had to sleep in the woods, but he had no fear. Because in the old country, he got his blessing from his father, which was very powerful. And he walked with a rosary in his hand everywhere he went. And he went with a pack on his back. And that's what he carried, door to door. Like some house dresses and some socks and hairpins and little bitty yard goods.
So my father arrived with his mother and father and 2 sisters in St. John. I think they came via Halifax, but they came to St. John in 1908. And at that time, Lebanon was a province of Syria. They didn't get their independence until after the First World War. That's why we were called Syrians, and sometimes Assyrians, well, we certainly weren't Assyrians. They kept coming over because it was poor and there was no work over there.
You know, where can we go to advance in life and go to Canada? Some of them literally thought there could be gold found here when they got here.
And they thought they were going to make their money and go back, but they never did go back. I only know one family that went back.
My grandfather and my grandmother came to Canada in the early 1900s. They started off in Montreal, then went to Gaspésie for a few years, then settled in Kedgwick because there was no general stores then. And they established a store that they had for over 80 years. At least, I think, 10 Lebanese families moved to the Restigouche area. But there are not a lot of them left there anymore. There's maybe 2. I think it's important for people to know that we're not the first to do things. People came here before us. They had a hard life. Most of them had to let go of some of their culture and their heritage to be able to fit in their new countries. So,
I hate to say this, we were name called. Like different things about being a foreigner. And my dad said, just leave it. Don't jump into it with your hands. And I'd never say anything. Just let it go by, and the people that would call me those, you know, GD so-and-so, they'd end up we'd be good friends. And I was even told one time, Louis, you're an awful nice guy to be a Jew. They thought I was Jewish. I said, what's the difference? A guy's a guy regardless of what he is.
Grandmother would speak to me in Arabic, and I would say, my friends don't speak that, and they laugh when I speak it, so I don't want to learn it. I wished I had.
You know, like down in the store, my father, I say, Dad, speak in English, because some of my friends would be standing there. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong, because I think you should all know your native tongue.
There's probably a lot of Lebanese who started their life here, but also contributed to building their community. And we don't know a lot of those stories, and I think it's important that we do.
Well, we were traders way back from the Phoenician time, and that's traders and shipbuilders. And that's what they do. And they came here, every one of them were peddlers when they came. They all peddled their goods out, peddled, and then they finally settled down. And there was grocery stores. There must have been about 10 grocery stores in the East End belonged to Lebanese people. And my grandfather had a grocery store eventually in Fredericton, and they were entrepreneurs and businessmen.
But they've had a pretty good reputation here in the city, along with many, many other Lebanese people that had nothing. And I mean they had nothing when they came in, but they weren't afraid of work.
Well, back in 1976, during the Civil War, I came into Toronto, and I was supposed to be an engineer. And while during that period, I didn't have my working permit or a student permit, which is to be an engineer. After several months, ran out of money and I started working at the Hilton International Hotels for as a busboy. So I worked for Hilton for 12 years, and I moved to St. John, New Brunswick. That's how I came actually to New Brunswick back in 1983. So I became the food and beverage director. I was in charge of the convention center and the hotel. In December, actually, 88, I moved to Moncton. And in June 1st, 1989, that's when I opened the business as one small bakery, just making pita, 1,000 square feet, 3 employees, and also a restaurant, 74 seats. Since then, we have expanded 6 times, from 1,000 square feet to 4, 24, 32, 36, and now we have 45,000 square feet plant here in Moncton, and we have 60 employees. One of the things about Lebanese, they're very strong in entrepreneurship. Okay, so you'll find many Lebanese, even it could be just a pizza place, or it could be a small grocery store, but they like to be their own boss. I know we did have a setback during the Civil War, but overall, as you could see, there's a lot of doctors, a lot of engineers. They always wanted to do better. This is their focus. They want to do better. So I would say it's going back to the culture, not for the need.
Yeah, my name is Pierre Crady. On the personal side, I am electrical engineer working for New Brunswick Power. On the church side, I am subdeacon in the Diocese of St. Maron, serving St. Charbel Church in Fredericton, and also I am the chairperson of St. Charbel Parish Council. I arrived in the province of New Brunswick around 25 years ago. The rest of my family, parents and sibling, followed me. So I am the first generation in Canada. St. Charbel is a common center to each family. So I personally found the Lebanese community very supportive to me and to my family. Because when you travel, when you move from one country to the other, this is your new home, this is your new country, and this is the big family that we have to live with all of us.
Tradition is important, right? And as I mentioned before, the culture is very rich. Lebanese also, they're very easy to, adopt. So yes, they know very well what the Canadian culture is, but they also like to keep their culture.
It's a lot of people when they live the countries, they keep the same tradition 50 or 60 years ago. They don't change as much as the people they live in Lebanon. They keep them, they cherish this culture, this tradition. Though this tradition had changed a lot in the motherland. I finished my PhD in French literature, and after I found a job at the university at this time at St. Thomas. And I met my husband, who's Canadian, and this is why I'm still here in New Brunswick. We are agnostic, and we teach our son to look at religions as philosophy. We are all alike. There's no difference between anybody, between Muslim, Christian, atheist, whatever. It's the person who counts, not the religion, not the skin color. And nationality is not just concept, nothing more.
Actually, my godfather was my dad's friend. He knew him in Lebanon, and it was just around the war, and he had an extra ticket to Canada somehow. This is how I was told the story. And he asked, my godfather asked my uncle, because him and my uncle were closer. And my uncle said, no, I'm not leaving Canada. I'm not leaving Lebanon. I want to stay here. And my father loved to travel, so he said, I'll take it. I'll go. Living here and being raised by my parents who left in 1975, would always tell us what Lebanon was for them as they were growing up, how things were. So we had this idea or picture in our head that this is what Lebanon was. So when I went to Lebanon, when I visited, it was one thing. When I lived there, it was one thing. So it's just like anywhere else. They go to work, they come home, you've got bills to pay, but the lifestyle that they lead in Lebanon is, I just think they have more of a appreciation for life. They've gone through many years of wars, and everybody is wanting to live their life every day because they don't know what's going to happen the next day.
We gather once a week, and we talk about our heritage, faith, and we do activities that would keep us engaged, keep us communicate together, and keeps us alive basically. And as you know, here everything's so distant, everybody's busy with work and stuff, so it keeps us together.
For sure. I think the first thing I'm going to teach my kids would be Lebanese, how to speak Lebanese, and teach them about the culture, just how you interact with people and how everything works. Because I think living in Canada where nobody has the Lebanese culture other than the Lebanese, it's important to know about that, living in another country.
Like the way we were taught is just our parents showed us like how hard it was, and like everything you have is like you put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, right? So they're just trying to pass it on to us to show us nothing's like taken for granted. Like the clothes you wear, the car you drive, the food you eat, that's all you. That's nobody else.